And with that, I am assured we are live. So hello, good evening and welcome. I, of course, as usual, will not know if I'm live for at least 20 to 30 seconds as YouTube catches up with us. So it's back to time travel again, really, isn't it, Mike? But hopefully Mike will let me know. Oh, you could let me know. That would be just as amazing. If I am indeed live, then there will be an email going out as well. Fantastic. So, how am I doing, Mike?
Are we live?
I'm hoping we're live. I'm seriously hoping we're live. Yay! We are live. So good evening and welcome. Yes, send the email. Now we're live. So now I need to switch pages so I can see the chat. So we are actually live. So that says we'll be with you in a couple of minutes. But no, we are here and I can see that there are people watching as well. So hello and welcome. Oh, it's been a very interesting MacBites day, hasn't it? Because we have had... It's a double header. There's no other way to explain it. It's a double header. There has been a full MacBites episode, despite us being on holiday, can I just say, and an after hours. Is there a reason, Mike, that you're playing me to me, not in real time? You to me, to you to me.
It was a bit like that last week.
Right, I'm turning off my headphones, after that debacle of a couple of weeks ago. But now, even though I've turned myself off, Mike's got me turned on over the far side. So what can I say? But if you are with us in the chat, do let me know. I need to change this so I can see it. Hello, Curtis. Fantastic. Good to have you with us again. Oh, we have got tonight nothing affinity-ish. But don't disappear, Curtis. We do have imagery software that's just as interesting. Trying to think now, actually, what we've got lined up for next week. Next week, Saturday. Are you available on a Saturday?
Am I available?
I'm hoping you're available on a Saturday. It's your reason that we're moving from Friday. But never mind. We'll be here no matter what. Okay, so as I said, we have been away. Now, do you listen to MacBites, Curtis? Are you a MacBiteser? Because we've had a show out today, and that's what this is all about. Which we did promise, didn't we? I can't remember when, but we promised it. Behind the scenes. Yes, so behind the scenes on a holiday with us. We're insane. But you guys know that. Mike, I didn't go through the checklist. Just a point thinking, am I recording the screen?
I don't know.
I'm getting a dirty look now.
Are you recording the screen?
I will be in a second, so no.
I'll take that as a no.
Okay, I wasn't recording the screen, but I am now. Right, there we go.
Shall I tell you a funny story?
Go on, tell us a funny story. You have to come nearer the microphone if you are.
This morning, I was recording a video for work. And I started recording the video. And I got about a minute into it and realised I hadn't started Camtasia.
That's me setting you a very bad example. That's fantastic, Curtis. Curtis is a subscriber. Yay! And good evening, Graham. Good to have you with us. We like those sheep as well. They were so cute. And that was pretty much our weekend, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, we had a really good weekend. But we're about to share all of that with you. I've had more emails and tweets and DMs about sharing our tech than anything else in weeks.
Awesome.
So good job, there's a lot of it to see, isn't there?
It is. So I was talking about clearing your browser cache.
Were you?
Yes.
In the video?
That's what this video was about.
Right.
And,
why would you be doing that at work? Just a thought.
Because they're changing the system.
Oh.
And in order to see the new system, you have to clear your browser.
Oh, I was thinking it was other reasons.
No.
Ah.
No, use incognito mode. No, it's all legal and above board. So
Right.
Prattling away in this recording this video and blah 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 blah, and I've forgotten to turn Camtasia on.
We've all done it. I did a fantastic take of an entire module of a course once, and I thought that was brilliant. And then I thought, and I hadn't turned ScreenFlow on. Not my proudest moment, I can honestly say.
So You're recording.
I am now recording. I have audio recording. I have screen recording.
And your screen's set to the right resolution.
Oh, yes. Unlike yours
me,
the last time. Yes, everything is fine.
And what else is on your checklist?
Not a Scoobies, but you know what? We'll pants this and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. In fact, amazingly, it's 9 o'clock already.
I was going to say it's 9 o'clock.
Yes. Now, I haven't reminded everybody to go down to the lower right-hand corner, click the cog, and choose high def. Otherwise, it'll all be fuzzy. And you won't want this all fuzzy because it's sexy tech, as well as some demos. But you're coming on holiday with us, and it was a...
We're all going.
Oh, please, no, Mike. Oh, and not to put anybody off, but we've got video of Mike dancing. It's pretty hazy, but it's worth seeing.
Pretty awful.
No, it needs doing. It definitely needs doing. Right, so hello, good evening, and welcome officially. Welcome to MacBites.
Welcome to MacBites. After Hours.
Episode 15. Don't talk about numbers about Apple Podcasts.
They've reneged.
Yes. Who's read about that? Apple sent an email out saying that you should not put an episode number in the title or description field in iTunes. And we just looked at each other and I said, have you actually seen our iTunes entries? And we have the tidiest feed known to mankind, don't we? And it just says MacBites episode 115, 116, 117. Now, we do have titles. We're contemplating, well, after I'd finished swearing at Apple, we contemplated changing the number for a title. But then we said, well, I would listen to a show and I would think, oh, I've heard that number. I wouldn't necessarily look at the title. We wondered what your preference was. Obviously, in the meantime, Apple have changed their mind. They have faced such a backlash that they realised that was a stupid idea in the first place. Which we said it was.
Power to the people.
It only took them 24
power
hours.
To the podcast.
Yes, it only took them 24 hours to change their collective Apple mind.
I think that was you.
Well, I wasn't...
Did you say something to Timmy?
I wasn't pleased with Timmy, so yes.
Were you ever pleased?
But do let us know. Why the change? The business with the numbers? Well, it could well be because Apple are falling behind in terms of podcasts. Let's put it like that. So it could well be that people are trying to cheat and put numbers in there twice and stuff. I really don't... I haven't any experience of particularly precisely why, but there were 4 rules, and that was the last one. The other 3 made sense. It was things like not mentioning your name or putting in spammy hashtags. That was completely fine. It was just this odd thing at the bottom about why no number. And I thought, it didn't make sense. The examples that people were giving was, ours are just numbered.
So if we can't mention names, then it's going to be welcome to episode.
Yeah, we can't actually say what episode number it is.
We can't say the name.
No, you're allowed to say the name.
Oh, we can say the name.
But there again, I don't know if they'd want to see the title of the podcast. It's called MacBites, and at the moment it's MacBites and a number. If you're not allowed the number and you're not allowed the name, what are you supposed to put in that field? It's fortunate.
What if you spelt the name out in words?
Let's not get beyond them. No, I'm glad. What did I say to you yesterday? I am not rushing into this and changing all these feeds, I said. They'll change their collective mind back, I said. And by close of business today, that's exactly what they'd done. So that sort of nearly happened and then didn't happen. But we wondered whether we do have a poster, don't we? And I'm sure when you've seen one of our posters, you remember you've seen it.
Graham does.
Graham does, because it's got sheep in it, yes. But highly drunk sheep. So what I was thinking was, do you use the numbers to refer to our shows, or do you use posters and the titles? Let us know these things, because Apple could do anything at any point. But tonight, I'm going to swiftly change what you're seeing here. You need to be seeing that. So you'll briefly see my desktop for a fraction of a second, and then you'll be back into what looks like a poster, but it won't be. It'll be Keynote. Oh, from whence we have the beginning of the show. So don't forget to go high def. First thing we're going to be doing today is travelling with our tech. Now, you may have heard of MacBites. I'm assuming Graham has. He's usually first off the blocks.
Yes.
He's usually the first one to download. Sometimes Graham's downloaded it before I've downloaded it.
Sometimes Graham's downloaded it before you've uploaded it.
Do you know once he nearly did because it disappeared? Graham had it and he was the only person who had MacBites because it vanished. I blame Siri, but I can't say that tonight.
I blame Timmy.
When in doubt, blame Timothy. That'll work nicely. Did I? Backup recording. You love me, really. You know you do. So we're going to do this travelling with our tech and sharing it with you guys. There was a lot of it. It worked well, though.
Travelling or tech?
Well, the journey wasn't great, but we'll talk about that. Then we've got... Graham just clicks the top of the list. You see, Graham's normal. It's Apple that are insane.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, we could have some fun with that, couldn't we? Randomly naming the episodes.
That would confuse me.
True. Never mind.
I'm easy.
Now, last time we looked at that new thing, didn't we? Oh, Snagit versus ScreenFlow. That's a good one. We looked at the replacement for Grab. But if you're still on High Sierra or further back, then you'll have Grab. So Mike's going to have a look at that. Now, I said I didn't use the new stuff at all, nor do I use Grab, because I use Snagit. So we'll actually have a look at Snagit. And of course, that's fine for your desktop, but what about your iOS devices? And for that, I use an app called Annotable, and that's what we'll be looking at. So, we're off tonight on episode 15.
Don't mention the numbers.
No, it's all right now.
Oh, it's all right.
He's changed his mind. You don't want me on the warpath. No. So, we were travelling with our tech. We were going away for sort of an annual break that we take, don't we? We weren't going far, thankfully, but that's not the point. We decided before we went to test out how viable it was to be mobile. Because I'm a desk-bound person and happy with it. You're more mobile than me. So, it was road warriors doing the dongle dance. So with sheep. We headed off Friday lunchtime. Yes, Friday lunchtime with a lot of tech. We were heading to Alveston Hall Hotel in Cheshire. Who's heard of that? It's part of the Warner Leisure Group, and it's what's their tagline? We're all grown up. Yeah. Now, I didn't notice the first time we went until we got back and somebody mentioned it. It's child-free. I knew I'd enjoyed it. You know, screaming kids. Yeah. Shame about the dogs. No dogs. But there's no kids. It's an adult-only thing. And our room is actually, you can see it there. We are in the second white domey thing. Can I get my mouse over here? We were on the ground floor. We had a patio all to ourselves. And that is a photo I took. So that is what the weather was like. It was amazing. And in our little room, what's the first thing I did? Have a think about that. What's the very, very first thing I would do? Now, you're thinking unpack. But it wasn't. That wasn't the very, very first thing that I did. Oh, no. This was the very first thing I did. The hotel has free Wi-Fi. It is in the middle of nowhere in deepest Cheshire. I didn't think that was bad. That's not bad, that, is it? That was taken on my phone. So it wasn't wired into that. That was the Wi-Fi. Graham's now crying, sobbing quietly to himself. And that was shared. And as you pointed out in the show, I dread to think what the contention ratio was. At that point, that's not bad, though. I was quite happy with that. Very, very happy with that. Now, we'd barely got going, had we, before we get into the tech. Doubtless you'll all remember what happened last year when we went away. Mike shot me. Well, this time I wasn't letting him anywhere near the armoury. But I did have him there by the target. That's not me, by the way, that's our friend. I'm behind the camera. And I thought it was safest that he was stood in front of the target in front of me. So that's where he was. We didn't really do much tech-related on the first night, but Mike is known for his cheese. And he did manage to bag a lot of cheese, as you can see. And believe it or not, all that cheese was the leftover stuff. Having consumed it, his next job was working it off again, wasn't it, Mike? It was. This is the dancing. I think it was Dancing Queen, wasn't it? But I haven't put the music on. It's a little bit on the rough side, but you'll get the idea. So there's a few seconds of him dancing.
Graham has 38 down by the way.
Oh, that's all right then, Graham. You're okay now. Now, who's heard the show? I'm assuming Graham's heard the show. I mentioned that we walked into the room and something freaked me out. A teapot. This was said teapot. Now, have a ponder at that. That teapot is suspended from the ceiling. In fact, that's the top of the wardrobe. And that is indeed a rope, and I'll be the first to admit it didn't cross my mind the first time I glanced at it that it was anything other than a teapot. But it was a light. And it just freaked me out. It was one of those things that was completely out of context, and I must admit, it freaked me out. Mike really enjoyed freaking me out with said teapot, though. So underneath the teapot is the drinks area. But who in the right minds puts a lamp in a teapot? Does that qualify as tech while you're on your holiday? No, I didn't think so either. I thought that was, well, I didn't like it. I didn't like it, I'll be honest. Now, if you've heard the show, you'll also know that before I settled down to record anything there, I'd placed an order, an Amazon order. And the only place I could get it delivered was a local Morrison's, local to the hotel. Oh, dear me. This is us when we go away. And there it is, the locker called Doddle at Morrison's in Crewe. Now, I did mention on the show it was a battery charger, but I had to share the photo with you because in all its glory, it's not just a battery charger. It's the M&S of battery chargers. It charges 16 batteries plus 2 9-volts at the top. So obviously that came on sale before we went, and I didn't want it left here with next door Stuffy chewing on it nicely. So we had that delivered local and we went to pick it up. And there it was, all working, and it was amazing. I loved it. It didn't take too long to charge those batteries, so actually bit of a review. Yeah. It wasn't bad at all though. It took longer than the one I've got, which only takes about 15 to 20 minutes, but that one is doing 16 and mine's doing 4. It also found a dead battery, so I got rid of that one. So I've got my 2 honor loops at the end. Do you remember when Apple did batteries? Nobody's mentioned. Nobody's mentioned the Apple batteries for ages, but they were an arm and a leg, and they had a little charger. Well, I never bothered with that. It was far too expensive. But that one was, I think it was about £18, which I thought was great because I paid about the same for one that did 4. So that was what that was all about. See, tech. Yeah. I go away and I buy tech. I have tech delivered within the vicinity when we go away. Now, you should know, we've mentioned it on After Hours and we've mentioned it on the show as well, that we've got a projector. We bought a projector. You'll recall this. We demoed it. Well, we took it with us. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why? Why were you doing that? We took it with us because there was a football match on. And Mike watches it on his phone. And what I said was, I'm sure we could get this projected onto the wall. Obviously, with that came a slight problem. The wall had a big photo on it, which still looks like a canvas to me.
It does.
Yeah, it's not. No. But we did manage to take it off. We weren't joking. These photos just prove the point. We weren't joking. So we did dismantle it, as you can see. I think you can see from that as well. Those 2 screws would be very difficult to get it back onto, and I can confirm they were. I expected a piece of wire at the back, and no. So that was a nightmare. No, but that was all the projector stuff. But before we got...
We don't really destroy hotels.
No. It is a bit like Oasis coming, isn't it? And kicking the room off.
Put it back.
We put it back. It was fine. No, I started to unpack before we dismantled the room, which is why the image is still on the wall at that point. But see the tech? This was what we travel with. Now, that was only the beginning of it. At this point, I thought, I'll unpack the rest and then I'll do a video of it. So that's what I did. So this was where I was sat, actually, as I was unpacking. So we thought we'd take you through it. It says you're here. I did look at that Cheshire book, but I decided that the stuff on the bed was far more interesting. as I think you guys will agree.
So we got no sleep at the weekend.
No, that's what the bed was for, that you can sleep on the floor. So starting off with our 12 ways. There were our 12 ways. Love those. Those are our travelling microphones. We've got half a dozen microphones, but those are our travelling ones. There, of course, is our projector. That looks like a selfie stick, but it's not. It's a grip. Now, all this kit is just mine. Mike hadn't unpacked his at that stage. But there's two 12.9 iPads, a 9.7, a 10.5, an 11-inch. There's some black bags there with more stuff in that you see more of later. That's my new MacBook Air. That's my 13-inch MacBook Air. Then I've got battery packs and... Oh, Kindle. That's a Kindle. What we're looking at there is battery packs. That inner tech is my backup of my main system from home. Got all my cables. That's my old MacBook Air. That came in very handy. Oh, that's my pencil case. Now, you've seen what was in my pencil case. Those were the cables that I talked about. I said I'd put a 30 pin in. It was in there. I didn't actually count the number of cables. I was slow with that. I was very, very slow with that. You'll also see there, if there was wired internet, I could create our own network. What else we got there? That's the battery pack. Oh, that's the thing that thing on the right, that holds the Zoom recorder that we're just flying past there. That's my USB-C adapter and all my battery packs and my USB-C cables. So yes, there was a lot of it. Do you think I overdid it at all?
No.
No, I didn't think so either. I would have put more on the bed, but we didn't have room. So that was all I had room for on the bed there. Oh, I felt much better when I'd unpacked it all and I could look at it though. Then I knew, I was confident that everything I needed would be there. So this was what it looked like when I did. You notice one of them's come alive. Somebody sent me a message while I was in the middle of taking the photos. Yes. Mike, however, looked remarkably not interested.
Mike had a glass of wine, that was all.
He did actually, next to that cushion. Now, Graham says that's more kit than he used to take for an outside broadcast. The thing is, Graham, you never know what you're going to need. Do you know what?
You never know what someone else is going to need.
That's another point, because that did actually happen. Do you know the one thing I didn't actually take with me? I didn't need it, but that's not the point. No DVD there.
Oh, no.
No, but that's going to feature in a future MacBites, because that was a calamity this week. So, yes, Mike, I thought, looked alarmingly disinterested. He's got in his hand the programme for the weekend and a glass of wine in the other one. Well, this was why I've had so many emails about it when people say, like, you said you'd taken a lot. Tell us what. That was it. All of that. Now, the black bags that you saw zipped up, and those were the contents of the black bags. And each one of those all colour-coded. Yeah, so that's my spare Apple Watch charger in there, and even more cables, as you'll see. Now, just in case you think it's chaos, it's not chaos. Oh, no. Everything is beautifully labelled, isn't it? Those were my Bluetooth audio adapters. And they're labelled particularly because you need to connect to them. And when you turn them on, you're thinking, which one is it? So they're all labelled. And I've mentioned my USB-C adapter for my new MacBook Air. The problem with them was I could not find one that was guaranteed to work with a new MacBook Pro 2018 model or a MacBook Air 2018 model. And the prices were anything from sort of £60 to about £200. And I didn't want to risk it. And then that one came on offer. The only thing it doesn't have is an Ethernet. But it was cheap. It was £18. So I thought, I'm going to give this a go. And if it doesn't work, I'll just send it back. Couldn't believe my luck. It actually worked. So I've now got standard USB 3, two USB 2. It's got an SD card reader, a micro SD card reader, HDMI, and most importantly, pass-through power. Because there's nothing worse than having that dongle hanging off it and then not being able to charge it. Now, you do have two USB-C ports on the MacBook Air, but you don't want one of them clogged up with power, do you? So that I can highly recommend. We'll make sure that there's a link in the show notes to that. Now, right, can I clarify? You take all that kit because you know you're going to use it or in case you need it when you sleep. Right, I'd say it's 50-50. I take absolutely what I know I'm going to use, but some of it I do take in case I'm going to need it. And that's what I've said about the way Apple are going where nothing has any ports on it. I don't know what I'm going to need. So I had audio cables in there, I had Bluetooth speakers in there, I had stuff that, no, I didn't use it. But I can't guarantee on the way that I won't need to use it. I knew I'd use both of my MacBook Pro, my MacBook Airs, and I did. I knew I'd use all of my iPads, and I did. You used all of your kit, didn't you? Well, I haven't got pictures of mine because he didn't lay it on the bed, but he took a Surface and he took his 12.9-inch iPad and he used all of that as well. We used all of the microphones. We used the digital recorder because we did a show. We actually recorded a show while we were there, which you can see here. Yes, I took microphone stands as well. There's a battery pack behind there. That wasn't actually in use, but that was my new MacBook Air. The digital recorder's just behind it. And there's Mike with his microphone. That's the first time we've ever recorded a MacBites in the same physical location. You could get away with an iPad and a Surface because I took everything else. If there was anything you didn't have, I'd have had it. And you had the bottle of wine.
I took a watch charger, took an iPad charger.
Oh, look, and there's my banana from breakfast, just behind the TV. Oh, that TV was interesting because we don't have a huge TV like that. And that had HDMI on it, so I had to play with that while I was there as well, dismantled that while I was there. So that was me recording. We did it in that position with Mike near the teapot. So the microphones were back to back. They are rear ejection microphones. So if we'd have done it with our backs to each other, the A would probably have picked up more. So if you've listened to MacBites and you've heard the first sort of 23 minutes of it, that was actually recorded in the hotel room. That was where we were recording and that was the setup. And that's what we used for it, which is a Zoom recorder. It's got XLR input at the bottom for the two microphones, so I can actually plug two microphones straight into it. And it was just recorded on there. Did we do a backup? I don't think we did we? I think we said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I could see the things bouncing on it, and it seemed to be working. And it did. It did. So that is how come. That's quite an old one now, Graham, actually, that H4n. There's now a H4n Pro and a H6, but it's very, very capable. It's very flexible in terms of, it's a great recorder without plugging a microphone in. You can see at the top, you've got two microphones that cross over each other. And it's very capable with just that. I have plugged microphones in it before, and it can act as a mixer. You could plug that into a computer via USB, and it would act as an interface for the XLR microphones. And the quality is stunning. It's also got underneath it a standard screw mount, which was what that plastic thing was for. I usually have that in a microphone stand and that hovering on the top of it. So it is a very, very capable recorder. I think the price of it now is about £180. It's been reduced because there are more modern ones. The newer one, the H6, has got 6 inputs, I think, or 4 inputs. I think it's 4. It's got 2. Instead of having the XLRs going in the bottom, they go in the sides, 2 on the right, 2 on the left. So you can use 4 on that. And it's actually got physical buttons on the front knobs where you can tune it, to get the right gain on them. That one also has at the top where the two microphones are, not the ones plugged in the bottom, the microphones at the top just above the word Zoom. You can change the components. So you can actually switch the type of microphone that it uses. And that one's about £270, £280, something like that. It is very capable. I've had it years and years. And it's still in use. Oh, you need new toys, Graham. You need new toys. So it was taking all that enabled us to get the show out. So we decided Road Warriors. But I must admit, all the dongles that I needed were more than a little annoying. Because when you're packing, you think, oh, I'll need that and I'll need that. But you just don't know. You could need something that you've not got with you. So basically, I took everything. Hence the van.
in the kitchen sink.
How many times? Well, we didn't realise before we got there that you can book a late checkout, which would have been handy, wouldn't it? But you have to book it over a week before you get there, and we didn't know it was an option. But that would have been very handy, because how many trips to the car did you make?
About half a dozen.
We could possibly need a bigger car.
Mm.
I think we should take a van next time. But then, of course, I got home. And all my toys weren't there. I needed to unpack. Everything looked a little bit bereft when I got here. That's to the right of my desk. So that's where I'm sat right now. But as soon as I'd unpacked, it started to look far healthier. So I started to calm down at that point. All my toys were back in there. That's an old iPod Touch from 2012, I think. My Kindle. And all my iPads, 2 laptops, and a venerable 2009 MacBook Pro at the back. You'll notice I use that to hang Bluetooth headphones off. So once it started to look like that, I was much calmer. It all calmed down and I was absolutely fine. So I've had so many requests to share with you what we took and how we did it, that's why we've done it. So there you go. That was our weekend, wasn't it? We did manage some dancing. What else did we do?
Shooting. Not shooting.
Archery. We did the archery. Oh, yes. As you know from the show, somebody overdid it. The ice cream was gorgeous. My favourite ice cream. And we got this waiter the first night, and it must have been his first night, mustn't it? And bless him, I know you disappeared at that point. I tried to order for Mike. What was it you were having that night?
Toffee cheesecake.
Toffee cheesecake. I was trying to order a toffee cheesecake for Mike and salted caramel ice cream for me, which he was convinced was one order. So Mike nearly got a plate full of 5 desserts. Good job you didn't, because you'd overdone the starter. Really? Yeah. Really? Anyway, we're going to head on into our demonstrations for the night. So, first of all, Mike is doing grab. Grab is... It's been around a while, but I don't know about you, I've only ever used it when I needed to do a menu or something. That is a screenshot that I put together when we did the training show back in 2012. So I did look at it then, and it was very capable. And Mike's going to take us through it, aren't you?
Yeah.
So let's get out of there and get you into your machine, because I've locked you out of it at the moment, you know.
You've locked me out.
Yes, you know I like to do that, because we need the control thing there. So you want shared control, don't you? And I will hand over to Mike.
Right, we'll come over here.
Oh, aren't you bringing your squeaky chair?
I can't get my chair.
Of course you can, there's plenty of room.
No, I can't get my chair.
What are you talking about? Yeah, we haven't totally packed up yet, have we?
No.
So just pull.
Right.
It'll come through, it'll be fine.
Right, so I want the keyboard, I want the mouse. Right.
Hey.
There we go. Grab is a utility that's built into Mac OS. It's not in Mojave. I think we talked about that, didn't we?
We did.
Last time.
It's not in Mojave.
Mojave's got this other thing, Shift Control 5.
Yes.
The one with no name.
It has got a name, but I can't remember what it is.
So we'll call it Shift and
I'll
Control.
tell you what, you get on and I'll find out what it's called.
Right. Anyway, Grab. Grab is used to take screenshots. First question I guess you'd ask is, why use it when you've got built-in keyboard shortcuts? But I would say there's 3 benefits of using this. One is that you get a choice of file formats when you save the screenshot. So I know you can take the one that comes that's generated when you use the built-in keyboard shortcut, and then open it up in Preview or something, and then just save it as a different file type. But this lets you choose a file type at the point of saving. Another benefit is timed screenshots. So you can set everything up, tell it to take a timed screenshot. You get 10 seconds and then it will take the screenshot for you, which is handy. And the third one is that it lets you decide whether or not to include the mouse pointer. And you also get a choice of icons. So let me give you a bit of a demo. I've already got Grab running on my machine, so I will just not run Grab there. I want to run Grab within my own VM if it's going to let me. Why isn't it letting me?
I did choose the right. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Okay. So I was already running Grab. Grab pops up on this menu here, and I can go to Capture, and I can choose Selection. And it tells me to take a screenshot over a part of the screen, drag over that part. So I will just drag over this sidebar here. It won't take a screenshot of that Grab window, which is quite handy. So I'll just take that. And there is my screenshot. So at this point, I can go to File, and I can go to Save, and you can see you have a choice of file formats. So I will just call this one Finder Sidebar and just stick it on my desktop so I can clear it up a bit later on. You can also do, and I'll close that down now, I'll do another one. So let's go back to Grab. I'll do Capture and Window. And what this lets me do is take a screenshot of a window. So I'll use Finder, but it could be anything that I've got running. So I'll just click on the window and click Choose Window. Has that taken it? Click on the window, that's it. So choose window, click on the window, and it takes a screenshot of the entire window. So you can do a selection, you can do an entire window. I won't save that, I'll just close it down and delete it. Okay, what else can I do? I can do, if I go back into Grab, capture the entire screen. So to take a screenshot of the entire screen, click outside this window. So literally click. And it takes a screenshot of my whole screen. And again, I'll close this one down. So you can see there very quickly, you can choose exactly what you want a screenshot of. The timed screenshot that I mentioned before, that takes a screenshot of the whole screen. It's handy if you need to get menus or something else configured. It gives you a bit of time to do it. There is a 10-second delay, which I mentioned before, which isn't configurable. It would be nice if you could configure how long it gave you, but it is 10 seconds. One thing I will make a point of is if you've got multiple monitors, and we of course have got, well, you've got 3 monitors here, and I've actually got 2 monitors, although I'm only using the one monitor in this pass-through. If you've got multiple monitors, be careful, because it takes the screenshot of the one the mouse pointer is in at the time the screenshot is actually taken. So what I mean by that is if you said take a timed screenshot, and then you moved the mouse pointer to your other monitor, and then the screenshot was actually taken 10 seconds later, it takes the screenshot of that screen. So be careful of that. It's not the screenshot. It's not the screen at the time you instigate the screenshot. It's the time when the screenshot actually takes place. But to do it anyway, you go to Grab, that's it. You go to Capture and then Timed Screen and click Start Timer, and then click on the screen, and it's doing a countdown internally. What it should do is it should take my screenshot in a few seconds. There we go. So that's quite useful because, as I say, you can set everything up. We'll also delete that one. And the final demo I'll do is, well, a couple of demos actually. If I go to the Grab preferences, what you can do is you can choose a mouse pointer, any of these predefined mouse pointers. So let's just go for the question mark because it's identifiable. And then if I go and take a screenshot of a window, any window, so capture window, choose window, and then click on the window. What it's actually done is it's taken the screenshot as I showed you before, but it's taken the mouse pointer that I chose, and where it's put that icon is where I clicked at the time I took the screenshot. The other thing, yes, I wanted to show you is under File, you've got Share, and you can then share that file with any one of a number of services or people. As you can see there, mail, messages, social media, etc., etc. So that is Grab. It's a very simple demo. It's a very simple utility, but as we said before, it can come in quite handy. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I've done my stuff. Took me all that time.
You've done your stuff.
I've done
you
my
found
stuff.
out what it's called.
I found the link. Oh, yes, Screenshot.
Screenshot. What an original name.
That's what I thought. It's in the utilities folder.
Along with Grab.
Well, no, because it's on Mojave.
Right.
So utilities folder, yes, but it's called Screenshot.
Cool. Okay, so am I going to hand back to you?
Not responding. There you go. Screenshot.
Oh, Screenshot.
It works exactly the same whether you run it as an app or you use Command Shift and 5.
Right.
There you go. You see?
Well, that's good to know.
Yes,
that's good to know. Right. Shall
just
I?
A pretty face.
Shall I go back into?
Well, you'll need to shift that first, won't you?
Shift.
Oh, get out of the way.
I will if I can get through.
Now
chair coming through.
There you go.
There we go.
No, you see, you just have an inability. Look, I've gone backwards to do that because you've left your rubbish on the screen.
I'm going to turn my rubbish.
Well, that won't help me at this end, will it, with remote desktop? Oh, domestic. There we go. Right, let's get back in here. So, I don't use that. I use Snagit. Now, I must admit, I used Snagit on Windows many, many, many years ago, and there wasn't a Snagit for Mac. So I wasn't really bothered. But who remembers Skitch? Skitch was fabulous. It was a free thing. You could upload it, you could annotate. It was just perfect. And then Evernote bought it, and it's now defunct. So for years and years, they brought a new version out that was nowhere near as fully featured. And I kept the .app file, the old one. Good evening, Kevin. Good to have you with us. I kept the old .app file and renamed it Skitch Classic, and I used it for years, would not be put off it. But eventually it didn't work properly, and I had to admit defeat, and I moved to Snagit 2019. I've had Snagit since version 3 or something on the Mac. That version came out late-ish last year, September time. It's almost comparable with the Windows version. In fact, there are things that the Mac version can do that the Windows one can't do. So I would say it's the most fully featured. Now, Curtis mentioned, what do you prefer, ScreenFlow or Snagit? Now, I don't think they are a direct comparison, although there is a great overlap. If I was choosing between Snagit and ScreenFlow for recording screen material, not stills, but actual video, I would choose ScreenFlow. But Snagit has a big brother called Camtasia, and that is TechSmith's version, if you like, of ScreenFlow. Now, I've used ScreenFlow for 12 years, but I switched to Camtasia last summer, which was a huge thing for me because I'd tried Camtasia many times and always went back to ScreenFlow. In the end, what swung it was, I think we talked about this on MacBites, didn't we? But every time, without fail, ScreenFlow gets updated, something breaks. Catastrophically breaks. The updates do add features, but not stuff that I'd use. Which was what I actually said about some of the updates. You know, can you please add stuff that we actually use? Now, I switched before the very latest version of ScreenFlow. The very latest version of ScreenFlow is amazing. It really is amazing. Well, we can cover that if you like. It has some fantastic features that are better than Camtasia. But Camtasia has a couple of features that make my life a lot easier when it comes to video. I think there is a big difference in ideology between Camtasia and ScreenFlow. And I think if you understand that, then you can probably work well in either of them. But if your mindset is one or the other, you'll find using the other one quite difficult. So for me, I don't record video with Snagit, but it can do it. I use this solely for capturing screen parts of the screen as still images and then annotating them. So that's what I'll be mainly showing you, but I can dip into the other stuff it can do. I can do that. Now, I will get... shall I get a browser? What shall I do? I've got a browser over here. I think I have. I should have Firefox. Oh, there we go. That's my my Spot beta. Right, let me get a new window. There we go, a speed dial. So let's go to MacBites. Right, I'm just doing that so I've got something to take screenshots of. Do you know it doesn't matter what time of day or night I log into here, there's updates. WordPress updates. Never fails. Right, I've configured Snagit so I don't actually need to see the interface of it. I just use my shortcut key and it will offer me a screen cap. So I'll do that first. My shortcut key, which I've defined, is Shift-Command-Option-C. When I do that, I get this. So you should be able to see an orange crosshair, which will let me take all kinds of captures. So in terms of, I still use the built-in stuff. I still use Command-Shift-4 all the time. I make a distinction with Snagit, and I use that when I want to annotate something and I know I do straight away. Or I want to edit it. That's when I use it. So what I've got with this, as you can see there, it's saying click an arrow for a scrolling capture, blah, blah, blah. We'll come back to that. We'll keep this one incredibly simple. Let's say I just wanted a little bit of a capture there of the MacBites homepage, like that. I can actually draw around it, the area that I want. That looks about right. I do like the zoom that I get, that you can see on the right-hand side. I can be absolutely pixel precise with that because it lets me see it. It lets me zoom into it. As soon as I let go, it takes that capture and it opens up Snagit. And it loads that in for me. Now, just to show you what you've actually got here. I have a lot of buttons showing in Snagit. The reason I do that is because I can't be bothered learning any shortcuts for it. I have far too many apps that I do learn the shortcuts for to be bothered learning more for this one. So what I did was I thought, you know what, just put all of the buttons on the toolbar and you're done. And that's what I do with it. So you do have those options across the top, but you may not have as many as I do. And when I have my screen full size, which it's not tonight because I'm sharing it with you guys, you can see even more. And I'll have to bring those back because they do things that I need to see. But that's what the tools you've got across the top. Then obviously you've got the canvas area in the middle. One of the great things that you can do in here is use the thumbnail track across the bottom. And the thumbnail track enables you, it shows you your recent captures. So I can actually scroll through my recent captures, a certain number of my recent captures. I can delete them from there if I don't want them. So I can close that one. It doesn't delete it from the library, which is what it's telling you there. It just closes it in the thumbnail track. So you might be wondering, what library? Library? What library? It's not actually obvious with this that there is a library there, but there is, and it's pretty amazing. So we haven't done anything with this screen cap yet. I'm just showing you the features that this app has got and why it is worth, for me, what's the upgrade price? About £25. I am more than happy to pay £25. You will notice by the name, 2019, it's usually released every year. You can take for £12 on top of your 25 maintenance. And that means you don't have to pay for the updates. You then basically go on £12 a year and you don't pay for the update. So that's what I've done with it. So it takes it down to sort of 25 pence a week. It's a bargain for me because I live making screen captures of various kinds. So the library, the one that's hidden, it's up here in the left-hand corner. Switch to library. When you go to the library, you get this entire different interface, which I don't think, am I right, Mike? You've probably visited that once. No, none at all. Never bothered it. It is easy ignored, and I must admit, I've ignored it. I don't bother with it. But I was looking for something the other day, and I thought, oh, yeah, the library. And I actually realised I now appreciate the library more than I did before. What we're actually looking at here in the library is every capture that I have made since I installed this software on this Mac. So 578 of them. You can see I've done no videos, I've done no animated GIFs, and I haven't favorited any of them. But what I do have is all of these screen caps grouped by date modified. So you can see that one was taken in the past hour. I've got some that I took yesterday, then the last 7 days, and so forth. In fact, if we zoom all the way back to the bottom, these are the first things that I took screen caps of as I was setting up this computer. So it was, well, setting it up on here, so it was November 2017. So a long time ago. And I don't have to worry about that. They're just there. So if I took a screen cap of it, I know I've got it. I know it's in there. What I've done to make that even better is you can, in your settings, somewhere, where did I put them? Here they are, autosave location. You can set the location of that to a shared location. Now, I don't mean shared with somebody else, I mean shared with yourself, shared across machines. My documents is in my iCloud system. So by putting it in documents, it doesn't matter which machine I have Snagit on, I have access to the same library. So if I've sat here at my main desk and I've taken a million screenshots for manuals and whatever I may need screenshots for today, and I've taken them all, and then I leave the warm and safe cocoon of MacBites headquarters, as you saw I did last weekend, I open my laptop and all of these screenshots are available for me. All of them. I don't have to worry about transferring them or anything else either. They are all just available. The only thing I need to do to make that work is set that autosave location to be the same on every Mac that I use. Simple as that. Now, also in here, you can do it by date created, you can sort it by name or size. Of more significance is the applications over on the left-hand side. So if I fold that up, you've got two ways to organise, by application and by tag. You can see I don't really bother with tags. That to me is a waste of time. I'll use these screenshots for what I intend to use them for, and that'll be it. But I don't tend to bother wasting my time tagging it. But you could do. If you want to live in here and you want to do that, you could do. What I do rely on is if I'm thinking, oh, I took a screenshot of Camtasia, then I can come in here and I will have 2 screenshots of Camtasia and one of Camtasia 3, which looks like it's an error message. That'd be right, wouldn't it? I took some shots of Audacity for a training course I put together. I've obviously done Affinity Designer before and Affinity Publisher. So that's actually quite useful. I think that really is incredibly useful. I can tell from this Better Finder Renamer, that was me making documentation for how to make something in Better Finder Renamer. So I can just go back there and they are actually there. So don't underestimate the use of the library. But Mike doesn't use it at all. Never mind. Now, this thumbnail track at the bottom is incredibly useful because, and I'm just going to switch that down a little bit so I can see the desktop behind it. It's incredibly useful because once you've got an image in there, and you may have done something with that image, you may not, you can use that to just drag and drop that image out. And now you've got a saved file. It's PNG. Kevin should know, I know Kevin's with us. I sent you that yesterday, Kevin. That's how I did it. I took it in here. It was 300 days to Christmas yesterday. And we love Christmas. So that's the kind of thing I did. I went to a website, confirmed it's 300 days, took a screenshot, cropped it down in here, and then just dragged it out like that. You can as well, if I just take that. And I've got Yoink running, and I can drag and drop it to Yoink and leave it there as well. And then drag that somewhere else. So I could drag it into my email or something. So I actually find this thumbnail track to be incredibly useful. Incredibly useful. I don't know if you use that, do you, Mike? Do you drag out from there?
I do.
Yeah. Now my only criticism of it is, if you did use Sketch all those years ago, Sketch had a little tag at the bottom, so it would have been at the bottom of that window and it's stuck out. Probably goes against all Apple's guidelines. But they had this little tag, and the tag enabled you to choose a different file format. And that would be fabulous. But to do that in here, you have to go into here, and it's got a drag and paste format in the preferences. And you can set it to something else. But that's not good, because it means every time I want to do it, if I wanted to save it out as a JPEG, I've got to go into the preferences, change it, drag it out, and then go back in and change it back to PNG, which I didn't like. I have told them this. They're working on it. But what I decided to do, which I'm attempting to show you by making this window wider, I see all of these buttons when I'm in my full screen, obviously. I've got this file option here, and that is an option built into Snagit that lets you save a file to a local file. So it does exactly the same as the drag and drop at the bottom. But I've configured that one to save with JPEG. So more often than not, I want a PNG, but on the odd occasion I want a JPEG. I can actually do that by hitting that button at the top and just saving it. I've also configured AirDrop if I want to AirDrop it somewhere, which I don't do very often at all. But despite the fact I can use the share option here, and I've got all of these options, I do, when I share something like that one, tend to use Google Drive to do it. And I've got this pre-configured that I just need to click that button, give it a file name. So I usually put the date. So I usually do it like that. And put Christmas, 300 days. And then just hit upload. Now, at that point, it's uploading in the background. Once it's uploaded, I won't get a notification because my notifications are turned off. But if I actually whip into my notifications, you can see I have got a Google Drive notification telling me it's uploaded, which is fantastic. Which means I can go into Firefox. Where's Firefox gone? Have you just disappeared too? Oh, no. Do I want that one? Let's make a new one. There we go. And I can just paste in what it's put on the clipboard, which is a Google short link, and it will load in that image. And you could also use that link if I could get it to you. But I'm not logged in on this machine to share it with you. But if I pasted that somewhere, I could tweet it, couldn't I? I could tweet it. That's probably the fastest way to get it to you. If you follow me on Twitter, let's tweet it. I'll put quick share from our live MacBites after hours. See, I have to speak as I'm typing it. There we go. It's tweeted. It's tweeted. Let's make sure it's the right one. That'd be terrible if it wasn't, isn't it? So if you just go to Twitter, find me, Elaine Giles on Twitter, and you'll be able to click that link, and there you go. It's a working, so you can see it. So I find that really useful, that I can configure the whole thing to do that in one. I don't have to bother dragging and dropping it out and then dragging it somewhere else and then doing the upload. I can just click a button from in here. You'll notice at this stage I haven't even done anything other than grab a capture, and it's already fantastic what it can do. So I'm taking that full screen. Right, this was the capture that we've got. Now, I think I had one the other day, but we'll work with this one. Right, let's say I want to share that with somebody. We've got a lot of negative space in there. So all of this area under the white to the tip of the waves there is pretty much negative space. Now, you have a lot of tools in Snagit, and this is why I love Snagit. The breadth of tools is just incredible. I've also noticed I've got a comment here. Have you done any videos on Camtasia? I haven't yet, no. But it's certainly something that I would be willing to consider. I can certainly show you why I use Camtasia over ScreenFlow now. Although ScreenFlow has got some lovely, lovely templatey things involved. But the features that Camtasia have got that's better than ScreenFlow help me work so much faster that even the new stuff that ScreenFlow have put in haven't tempted me back. I still own it, and I still do a review of it, and I use it as my backup. But if I had to choose one or the other, at the moment it's Camtasia. So there you go. Oh, Winnie's a fan of MacBites. Hello, Winnie. I haven't seen the pitch yet, no. No, but I will. Right, let me have a look. Hello, Winnie. Oh, she's adorable. She's adorable. Right, okay, so tools that you've got in here. Well, you've got basic stuff that you would expect if you are looking to annotate images. So you've got the basic stuff like this, and you can change the colours of it and things. So once you've done it, you can select it. You get this little popover. You can change the colours. You can change the line widths on that, so you make it very different. You can change the ends on it. So you might want it to look like that. Don't know why, but you might. You never know. One of the things I love in this is you've got the white handles at the end, and they allow you to position the beginning and the end of the arrow. But the one in the middle is yellow, and that allows you to bend it, which I think is nice. In fact, you can go absolutely crazy on this, because when you've bent it, you get another one and another one, and every time you bend it, do you know what it reminds me of, Mike? Do you remember the beginning to Dad's Army? It looks like that, doesn't it? Yeah. You can do all kinds of weird things with it, which is probably far too much, but you get the idea. It's very flexible, and anything that you configure, so let's say that colour you like, and you might not want the shadow on it, so you want it flat. You might want the opacity taking down. You might want the width taking up. You get the idea. Anything you do like that, you can save as a preset. Which means when I add another one in, it's already set like that. But you can go back and choose other presets. So if you want them to look very different, you can do that. So it's like having favourites set. I've not seen anything that's as flexible as this. But your mileage may vary. If you don't need this level of detail, then maybe not. But certainly for me, it's definitely worth the cost. So let's get rid of that one. We'll leave the green one there. That's the very basics. Obviously, you've got text on there. You need text. So hello world. And you can make that bigger. You can put drop shadow on it. You can do all kinds of things. You'll notice it made the canvas bigger there as well. I'm attempting to undo that, but it's not having it. Never mind. Right, let's take that up. You see, that's not the best colour. Can't see it properly. So let's change that to one of these in here. If you remember Sketch, you'll be looking at that and you'll be thinking, whoa, that looks like Sketch. Got to agree with you, it does. Sketch introduced text like that. And this canvas that's gone like that, I'll just do that with it, and that will shrink it down. So this is very, very, very basic stuff. All the stuff that you're used to seeing in apps like this. You've got your captions like this, so you can move it round. This is basic stuff. You've got just shapes, which I use a lot of the time to cover stuff up. So I have some presets here. Let's go into there. That are just white or just black, because I'm using them to cover things. But you've got all kinds of other options as well. So it is incredibly flexible. Once I get into my training mode and I'm creating slide assets, I'll pick a colour depending on what it is I'm training, and then I'll set up favourites in here and I'll just whip through with it. So as I say, if you just want to take 2 or 3 screen caps, it's probably too much for you. But if you are using more than that, and then of course there's the other tools. So it's not all about just annotations like this. I'm going to go in here with my move tool. I'm going to get rid of some of these, because the other things that it can do are things like stamps. Now, you might think stamps, not interested. And I agree with you. Look at these things here. Not bad if you're looking to put a Bluetooth logo on it or a lock. Not bad at all. They're very nice. They're classily drawn, if that's what you need. But the thing I need most, and I've needed this for years, and I've had to do it manually for years, is if I just don't bother with what's in there, I'm just going to go to the search. What I do want, what's missing from my screenshot, Mike? Because you've done this as well. Now, it's an option. It's missing by default, but you can toggle it on permanently, but I don't want to, and I'll explain why. You've no clue, have you? No clue. Mouse pointer. It didn't capture the mouse pointer. So if I put in there mouse, I get options for my mouse. Now, I'm actually looking for mouse pointer. Why am I not seeing a mouse pointer? Where am I? Oh, do you reckon? I'm sure I put pointer. There we go. I did. I put mouse pointer. And I've got all different kinds of mouse pointers, which is just fabulous. It means I don't have to. There is an option in every screen capture app you've ever seen. There's an option to capture the cursor. But the problem with it is it's going to capture it where it was when you took the shot, which may or may not be precisely where you want it to be. And I just find it far easier to do it after the event. Just drag the mouse pointer on with wherever I'd like it to be. So click on the after hours. I can even choose different ones like this, which make it far more obvious where to click. So you can say, click under our story. And you've got different colours. So I like doing it that way. I really do like doing it that way. It allows me to be more flexible after the event. The other thing is, if I've got stuff like this, even if I could capture the mouse pointer, so let's say this after hours one here, let's say that I'd captured that and the mouse pointer was in it. Then it's burnt into it and I can't do a thing with it. But by adding it after the event, I can actually make it so you can see it. So let's zoom into that. Let me zoom in here and grab the corner. And now I can make it much bigger. So for accessibility purposes, that's fantastic. And that's why I do it that way. So as somebody who creates learning materials on a every second of everyday basis, this is the kind of features that it has that makes it worthwhile for me to pay for it. But I admit it could be overkill for some people. But it's there. That's the option. What else have we got? Oh, there is the magic wand, which is actually incredibly useful. I've actually used this, and I'm trying to think. I had let's see if it's in the library. Should be in the library, shouldn't it? Let's go to all the files. It was something that I took. It was this one here. Let's load that into the library. So what you'll see what's happened at that point. It's at this end here. There it is in the thumbnail track. And what I actually did, I did this on this one here. That one. I was posting that to say that that app was free of charge, or 99 pence, something like that. So let me zoom in to fit the screen. And the problem I had with it was I couldn't extract the image. And I looked at it and I thought it's got a white background. I don't want it to have a white background. But with the magic wand tool, I can just click once, press delete, and now I've got a transparent background, which was what I was playing around with this thing. I didn't dislike that, but I thought it could be a better colour. So I used the magic wand to select that and deleted it. And then I got the fill tool and I picked a different fill and thought, what would it look like? Would it showcase it better if it was that colour? And it was. So I did. So it's got it's pretty rudimentary. It's pretty basic, but it's the kind of edits that you're likely to do. So it's useful. You can crop stuff. You can highlight stuff. I'm looking around. I'm going to do a screen cap to show that. But basically the tools that you have in here are so much more advanced than all of the others. So I'm going to go back to that MacBites one, which was this one. And I talked about the negative space, didn't I? So let's get the move tool, which enables me to select stuff. And I can delete my mouse pointers. I don't actually want mouse pointers. That's how I like it. I like it flexible. But I did say that in here, you've got more advanced tools. So, of course, if I wanted to use a highlighter to actually highlight the menu, I could do that. And I can change this and I can change the opacity of it and all kinds of stuff. But again, that's fairly basic. You might think, oh, I was expecting that. I like the step things that you can put in. So you can put steps in. So click there first, click there second, click down there third, that kind of stuff. And if you delete one, so we go back there and we delete step 2, oh, that should update. Can we no, I don't want to restart. You should have updated. You should have updated. Oh, that has updated before, but never mind. So you've got steps that you can put in there. You can do a magnify, which is incredibly useful. So you draw around like that, you move it over it, and it shows it you enlarged. That was the sole reason I bought something called Napkin, which is another screen capture application. But boy, that was expensive. So now this one does that as well. So I will just come out of there. Can you let me undo that? There we go. Let's get rid of that one. I'm coming on to the one that I use all the time, and I know Mike does as well. which is not the blur, but it can blur as well. So if you've got credit card details in there and you don't want people to see that, you can blur. And every one of these things that you can do is as simple as going to click the tool and draw it on. Very, very simple. But the one that rocks my socks off on a regular basis is the cutout tool, which doesn't sound very exciting. But as I activate it, you have options in your quick styles. Now I'm going to use one of these so you can actually visualize what it does. So with that one, horizontal tear, all you need to do is draw an area that you want to remove. And it must flatten it, that's fine, flatten it. And what it does is rip it out. So it actually takes it away. So sometimes in a dialog box or a page, you've got this huge long page and you don't want most of it, you just want a small bit, but you want to provide context, so you want the top of it there. This is what this tool allows you to do. Now, will you let me undo that? You won't, will you? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... I'll choose one of the others. So let's go into this one. Right, this was one that I took a screenshot of yesterday to share with somebody. And I didn't need this middle bit in it there. I did not need that. So what I want to do is use that cutout tool to lose this bit in the middle, but I don't want the tear. Now you can visualize what the tool does. Probably like me, you'll use the horizontal or the vertical all the time. So to remove that and make it look like it was never there, use that option, which is just the straight line, and it literally just moves it, takes it away completely, like it was never there. That is fantastic, and I use that one all the time to tidy up screenshots like that. I would probably crop that one as well and take that one up there and then crop. And that's now finished. So I took that the other day and didn't finish it, but that's now finished. I was sharing the fact that it was called Unicorn with somebody, and I haven't actually shared that yet. Mike knows who, don't you? Somebody who's unicorn crazy. So that option itself is amazing. Now, let's say that I've got, and I'm trying to think now, what would have a lot of text in a dialog box, Mike? Ooh, let's have a look at some of these screenshots. Something with text in it is what I'm looking for. Oh, I know. I'll do something like a PDF. I must have a PDF somewhere, mustn't I, Mike? She said, hopefully, frantically trying to think where she's got a PDF. A settings dialog. Oh, yes, you're quite right. Let's go into the system preferences and see what we can find. Let's move the system preferences over and see what we can find. What's got lots of stuff on it? Not that one. Must be something in here with lots of text on. No, not really. These are all pictures. Oh, these are all pictures. That's not bad. There's something in there, isn't there? That text. Basically, I can't copy that text. So if I was typing this up for a manual, as Mike well knows, you've got to sit here, take a screenshot, stick it to the side, and then type it all up. No, no, no. We don't want to do that. I said to you I use Command, Option, Shift, and C, and that takes a screen cap for me, and it does. I'll do that again, so you know. Click, and it takes a screen cap of that. Brilliant. But it's an image. I can't copy that out. It's an image. But what I can do, so let's hide that and get back to my dialog box here. I can use a shortcut key I've created, which is Command, Option, Shift, and T. T for text. And this time, I'm going to hover over just the bit with the text that I wish was editable, that I could just copy and paste. So let's say I want that bit there. It's nice and clean text. And as it tells you there, what it's doing is grabbing the text and making it editable. And all I need to do with it is copy it. And that is now editable for me. So I could go in anywhere and paste that. Let's go into BB Edit and paste it. It's genuine pasteable text. All selectable pastable text. So if you ever get an error dialog that's like 4 pages long, I get those all the time, surprisingly enough. Even tweets you can't copy from Tweetbot. So you could copy a tweet and it would turn it into OCR text for you. So I find that I actually had an app to do that. I think it's called Pick a Text. but I got rid of it because this can do it for me. That's one of the new things. Another thing it does that would take a long time to do another way is, let's go back and get a screen cap of a web page, preferably with a form of some description. Do we have a form of some description? Ooh, let's take something like that, which is quite busy. It's quite busy, that. So I'll take... No, I won't do it that way. I will do it that way. I'll take that screenshot and it will load it into there. And it's busy. There's a lot of stuff there. If I'm trying to point somebody to something there, that, oh, ignore this bit, ignore that bit. Well, you now have an option to simplify a screen cap with this simplify option. So I'll just hit the simplify option. And I want to auto simplify. So away you go and auto simplify it. And it will have a stab at simplifying that entire page for me. So obviously I'd need to do some things with it. Like, I'd like people to know it's still MacBites. Where was MacBites? That must be behind that bit there. No, I might not want the email. Oh no, the MacBites isn't there, is it? But I wouldn't want the names of this covering up, maybe. But it's far easier for me to take away, and we can't have the sheep covered up, can we? It's far easier for me to take away the little bits that I want them to focus on than it is for me to do all the work of covering it up. But I can go in and edit it. So if I zoom in to that bit there, zoom in a bit and move up to the top, I can extend the auto simplify options like this and change the way that it has actually done it. It's just a huge time saver, and it can help focus on certain things. Now, again, that's one of the newer features. I haven't used that much in Anger. I don't know if you would, Mike.
Probably not.
No, I think when I'm doing something, I tend to take a tight screenshot anyway and focus attention on it other ways. But the option's there if you need it. So that was that one. Right, now, I've shown you the way that I capture it. But there is other options when it comes to capturing. Now, I'm using Firefox. And Firefox, it's not keen on Firefox, I must admit. It much prefers Chrome, but I don't. Fell out with Chrome. But you'll notice when I instigate my shortcut key and I hover over here, it says click an arrow for scroll and capture. And now it's disappeared up there. So there is an arrow down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of that and go to the very top of the page. And instigate my shortcut key again. But this time I will use the arrow. So I've done that. Now I have to do this manually. I scroll the content area myself, goes all the way down the page, and then when I'm done, I stop. And it processes that image. Now, you saw there was animation on this site. Doesn't really like animation, I'm afraid. But if it's a static page, it captures it perfectly. I'm not quite sure what it'll make of MacBites, but we'll soon find out. But basically, it's more manual in Firefox, but it's automatic in Chrome. It's a way of capturing below the fold of a web page. Now, I don't know about you, but when I do this on iOS, I take multiple captures. You know, when you bought something on Amazon and like capture, scroll, and then have to piece them together later. But this one's going to do it automatically. As you can see, it's taking a little bit of time. One, the machine's doing quite a lot tonight, isn't it always when I'm live? But I think the page is quite complicated as well. I should probably have tried something like the BBC News page, but the last time I did that in a live demo, Michael Jackson died. So I'm not venturing near the BBC News page. I've no idea what's happening, and I'm quite happy that way. Oh, it's thinking about it. Come on, load it in. That's not bad. It's not perfect because there was animation. But it's not done a bad job. As I said, it would work better with something that's static. So I should have picked a static one. But it did it. So that's an option. Now, the capture itself, if I go into the capture option from here, are you contemplating capturing? You're not doing anything. Come on. What should be happening is it should come up, and it isn't coming up. Why are you not coming up? It should give me options. Now, I don't want to see these options, but I know you guys tonight have mentioned... hello, Stuart. Good to have you with us. I know that you have mentioned capturing video with it. Now, I am never going to do that, and that's why I use one shortcut key, and I only have to remember a one shortcut key. But it can do a whole lot more than that. So if I go up to bartender, brace yourselves, there's that much stuff hidden in here. One of them is Snagit. In here, you can configure as many different capture options as you want. Now, the default is actually the all-in-one capture, which is this one. And you get to say whether you want the capture previewed in the editor, copied to the clipboard, whether you want the cursor captured, which we've already talked about, whether you want a 5-second delay. And there is a shortcut key for that one as well. So that's the all-in-one capture. And I have that configured, you'll see here, for an image at the bottom. But I also have it configured to grab the text. And I said that was my shortcut key for that. I've tried to keep them to be all the same shortcuts. So what I call 3 and a letter. So it's Command, Option, Shift and C, Command, Option, Shift and T, and Command, Option, Shift and M. And that enables me to capture everything I want to capture. But you might want to do something different. So you can create as many of these presets as you like, or you can come in here and configure it on a per capture basis. Now, that I don't. I keep it incredibly simple, and I like life that way. It just makes it easier for me to use it because it is very easy to become completely overwhelmed by all of this. Now, the other option, of course, is to capture video, and you can do that. So you can come into your Snagit tool in the menu, choose video from here, choose whether you want to preview it in the editor. Do you want the cursor? Do you want to record the microphone? And do you want to record the system audio? And this would give you a pretty reasonable recording. What I would say about that is, if you're happy just doing a top and tail, so you want to do a tutorial and you're just going to go into it, do it and come out the other end. I admire you because I don't think I've ever done it without wanting to edit it. Which is strange because I work live a lot and I'm fine live. But when I'm doing a video, it's got to be just so. And I do like to edit it. You can very easily top and tail this video, but not so much the detail inside it where you might want to edit. It's not really intended for that. That's where Camtasia comes into it or ScreenFlow comes into it. But for a quick and dirty capture of a video, it will actually do it. Now I'm going to turn the microphone recording off because I'm using my microphone elsewhere and I don't want to get it upset. But you could do that, obviously. And then just capture. And it's actually capturing now, I hope. So we'll do a capture. We'll do this area here like that. And it's ready to record. You can tweak this here. So whether you want that at the bottom, you can still tweak it at that point. When you're ready to go, you can press record. And hopefully it's now actually recording. Well, it will be when it's done its countdown. All right. So you get the orange bit around the edge. That's the area it's recording, and you can actually see in there, you can see the drop shadow off it as well. You can turn things like the camera on if you want to switch to the webcam. Trust me, nobody wants to do that, etc. So anything that you need to do there, and of course you can bring things in and out of that area. It's one way to record 1280 by 720 if you want to do it that way, because it did let you stop and choose 1280 by 720 if you wanted to do that. Once you've got your recording, you can stop it right there. It will take it into Snagit for you, and you've got your basic editing options in there. So if there was audio, that would be in there. This little playhead here will play you through your video. You can use this bit to crop stuff out. So you can see you can play that bit. And if you don't want that bit, you can cut it out. You can take the bit off the beginning. So I said it's very easy to top and tail. So take a little bit off the beginning there like that. You can cut that out. That's gone. So we've come into the live bit. And you can then export it. And GIF is an option. So we've got, that's probably a little bit long for a GIF. Let's go for about the 10-second mark. Let's just get into here the latest shows. And let's take that bit off the end. So we've now got 11 seconds and export that as a GIF. So optimize for screen video at a frame rate of 5 frames a second. We will have it fade to black. Why not? And then create it. And it will create that GIF for us. Very handy for emails. Although I don't like them, but your mileage may vary. They annoy me. Or putting on social media. So that should be, there we go, that's a preview of it there. So it's showing you what that actually looks like. Then you've got all of the options to share that you had before. So it's saying it's a GIF down the bottom. And we know that we can drag it out of there. So we can just drag it straight out of there onto the desktop. Are you going to let me do that? You are, there we go. And will it preview? You will preview, won't you? You will, go on, will you preview? Will you move? There we go. So it actually previews. So yes, you can do video with it, but I think you can tell by looking at that, it's not Camtasia. It's not ScreenFlow. But for something very short, very basic, it's absolutely good enough. No problem at all. You can see what you get here as well. Your original recording is an MP4. That's another reason not to rely on it for the highest quality, because it's saving it straight away as an MP4, whereas Camtasia and ScreenFlow save it to an intermediate format, their own custom format, which retains 100% of the quality to allow you to do the edit and then export it later to whatever format you like. Now, many years ago, ScreenFlow was the first app on the Mac that let you do that. It used to be called Snaps Pro 10 or Snaps Pro X. And what that did was you had to configure the final output at the point you pressed record. And of course, the problem with that is I can't export to two different qualities then. It will always be very, very lossy. But yes, it can do video. I don't bother with it for video, I must admit, but it can do it. Let's stop that playing because it's making me feel dizzy. So that's a quick look at Snagit. I think it's worth it. Your mileage may vary, but it can do an awful lot. So if you're working with screen captures, then I am happy to highly, highly recommend it. One of the benefits with it is that it's virtually identical on Windows. And I know you use it on Windows, don't you? Yes, Mike uses it at work, although heaven knows how many versions back you are. You need to request brand new software. 8 versions back or at version 8? So he's a couple of versions back. Right, okay, so that's it for Snagit. So let's lose Snagit. And let's lose everything else I had up here to show you Snagit. Why aren't you disappearing? Because I'm pressing the wrong button. Right, okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is, that's all very well, but that is on your Mac. What do you do on iOS? And you've got a couple of options. One, of course, is free. This one is not quite free. But if you want the level of flexibility that you get with Snagit, then it's not a bad option. So it's called Annotable. You can get a version for free and try it. There is an in-app purchase if you want the more advanced tools. So I've got that and I will show you what this is capable of. So let's go and have a look at that. Now I'm going to regret this, Mike. I am. Because I need Air Server running. And you know what happens when I run Air Server, don't you? It starts complaining. But I will endeavour for you to see my iPad. Let's have a dabble with that. Right. So, screen mirror to Serenity. Yes, I called my machine Serenity. Ooh, he's in a good mood tonight. Now I've said that, that'll be the end of it. So let me get that so we can see as much as possible on here. Right, and it's down the bottom there. Now, I've got some images in here before we go any further. Right, I have got... Where's my photos and video? Right, I've got some photos in here. Not many. I was demoing to a dentist this week, so that's why I've got dental demo files in there. Don't freak out, there's no teeth. But I've got a handful. If I look at my camera roll, I've got a handful of things. I've got all the MacBites posters and stuff like that. And I've got that to show you that I have restored and unlocked the options that you get with the in-app purchase. So that is what you get with the in-app purchase. And I have reactivated it so we can have a look at it. But first of all, we're going to need something to take a screenshot of. So let's just take a quick screenshot of the screen. Now I'm using a 2018 iPad, which doesn't take screenshots the way it used to. So I'm using the button at the top and the volume up. And I'm pressing that. And the first thing to notice is it puts a thumbnail at the bottom. These are the built-in tools. This costs nothing. This costs absolutely nothing. If I had ignored it, it would have saved it to the camera roll. At this stage, it hasn't decided whether I want it to save to the camera roll yet. But these are the tools that you have available completely free of charge. Now, first thing is you can obviously crop if you want to crop. And then you've got the tools along the bottom. So you choose the tool and you choose the tool's settings and then choose a colour. So I'm choosing the blue. And I'm drawing on it with my Apple Pencil. Oh, very artistic. And you've got a highlighter there, so I shall highlight it like that. Draw over there. Not the best colour for showing you the highlighter, but you get the idea. So you've got these options built in, and you might not need more. You never know. You might not need more. So there's an eraser tool, and it gets rid of that as well. And you can draw around your annotations like that. And where were we? That one there. Draw around that. And move it. So if you put it in the wrong spot, I've actually grabbed the red one as well. If I was tighter with that, it should just let me move the highlight. There we go. So you can edit with it as well. So I would say it's fairly primitive, but it's a lot better than you've had before. And that might be all you need. Once you've done that, you get an option in the top right to use the share sheet and send it somewhere. Or you can tap done. And at that point, you get the option to save to photos or delete it. So I'll choose to save that to photos. So that's the first thing to be aware of. You might not need more than that. But if you do, I'm going to take another screenshot now. This one, I'm just going to swipe away. So as I've swiped it away, if I go into my photos, you'll see I've got the two at the bottom there. So there's the one that I annotated. And there's the one that I didn't. There it is. Okay, so they're all there. So let's get rid of that and let's go into Annotable, which is this one here. Do you think they're put off by Mike's Bot, the poster? If you've never listened to a MacBites, that's a good one to listen to. Graham made an appearance on there vicariously. So and your Bot did as well, but it's not what you think it is. That's the thing, it's not what you think it is. Why is my screen gone small again? I've just made that bigger and it's ignoring me. Possibly because I swung it round. Right, let's have it bigger and don't move. Stay where you are. Right, so I can open anything from my camera roll. And I'm going to open that last one that I took, which is there. So this wasn't taken with Annotable, it was just opened in it. Now, in here, you could be forgiven for thinking, where on earth's the interface? Well, the interface is in each corner. So if we start with the top left, that's a cross button. And that allows you to just close it. So if I tap there, it's just closed that image and I hadn't made any changes, so it didn't prompt me to do anything at all. So let's go back in. We don't want that one. Right, in the lower right-hand corner, it says highlighter. And when I tap on that, that's where all the tools are. Now, if I leave that at highlighter and we look across at the left-hand edge next to the blue file icon, that is the colours. As I tap on there, you get the options, both colour and the width sliding along the bottom. So I'm just tapping to get rid of that because the last option for the interface is in the top right, and that is also the send to options. So there's all my iPads springing to life. Mike should be there somewhere. But maybe not. Maybe he's nodded off. Right, so those are the 4 areas for the tools that you've got. So let's actually start and have a look at the tools. So the first thing you can do is you can crop in exactly the same way as the other one. So crop tool. Go back to the crop tool down there. Change my mind, don't want to crop. Then you've got the standard stuff that you expect. And you expect to be able to have lines. Now obviously that one is yellow. Tap it. Go down to the left-hand side and then I can go through and make changes to that. And it remains active as I stretch it up like this and choose all kinds of things like that. So those options are available from in there, which is cool. I like that one. You can bend it in exactly the same way as you can in Snagit, which I actually do like. I like to be able to be precise with where that's coming from and then bend it. It just gives it a little bit more interest. And as you can see, as you tap and hold that, and I'm using the pencil here, it actually zooms in. So you could actually take that around something if there was something else there. So maybe I wanted to do that and go around that one. I could actually do that. That's so cool. Right, so that's just a basic arrow though, but you can still do a lot more with it than you can do with the built-in things. So that was an arrow. You've got standard stuff on here. So you've got text. There's a text one. So let's tap on there with text. Hello. And of course, you've got all of the standard formatting with that again from exactly the same place. Over here, do you want an outline on it? Would you like a box around it? Would you like it reversed? And then, of course, you can change the colour of all of those. Could you do me a favour, Mike? I've forgotten to check how much this was. I think it was around the £8 mark. But I could be totally offbeat there. But I can't. Oh, come on. You must be able to find Annotable. Annotable. Right, so there's the options you've got there. You can also rotate that. It is the ultimate tool for doing this on an iPad. It really is. Because I'm doing it with a screen capture from the iPad. But don't forget here, if I'd saved the stuff I'd taken on the desktop to an iCloud location, I could access those images as well and annotate those. Yes, but I want to know how much the in-app purchase is, Mike. Oh, come on, come along. $9.99. That'll do. That's all I want to know. $9.99. It's worth every penny. It really. Look at it. It's amazing. It's worth every penny. And this isn't even the good stuff yet. This is the basic stuff. So let's go back to our tool here. We've obviously got things like lines that are very dull and boring, but you can do them if you need to do them. And you can draw around stuff like that. You've got the wiggly one. Wiggly one. Still boring. This is still the boring stuff. What's that one there? What do we do with that one? Oh, that's your highlighting. That will highlight stuff. Now, that was one I liked. I liked that one. So I'm going to draw around that, and it pixelates it. So if you're doing a demo like I'm doing now, and you're looking at my naked iPad, this is a working iPad. It's not a demo iPad. This is the iPad I actually use. So this has got all my stuff on it. But if I was doing a tutorial-based thing, and I thought, well, you don't need to see all of that, then I can pixelate it out like that one. And what else have we got in here? Oh, yes, I could use that to redact. So as I'm drawing over it, it's redacting it. That is so cool. Right, but now how about the good stuff? The really, really good stuff. Now, this was the thing I actually bought it for back in the day. I remember this one. That tool doesn't actually give you any real idea what it does, but it flips it around. It gives you a negative where it dims everything else out apart from the area that you're trying to highlight. This has got to be the world's worst annotated image, hasn't it? But you get the idea. You can do so much with this. It really is a very, very powerful tool. Now, at this stage, I'm actually editing the original image. So if I come to close that and I tap save, because I don't want to lose this beautiful annotation I've done, I need to allow it to modify the photo. This is sounding dodgy, isn't it? It's going to actually modify the original. So as I come back into my camera roll, that's the one I edited with the built-in tool. No, I don't want that in there. But this one is the one that I've edited in here. So the thing with this is it remains editable. As you've seen, I've closed it, I've reopened it, and I can still edit it. So I'm coming out of that. I'll save the changes to it. And yes, I'll allow you to modify it. And then I come out of the app completely and I go back into my photos. And of course, at this stage, the problem is in here, in my photos, I've actually burnt these things onto my photo, haven't I? And I might regret that. I might think I could do without that. I need the original of that image. So I thought as I was sitting, it's done it again, hasn't it, Mike? It's made it small. You need to keep your eye on this and let me know when it's doing stuff it shouldn't be doing. I don't know why it's doing that. Right. I thought to myself, well, I'd duplicate it first. That's what I'd do in case I needed to get back to it. But I did notice in here, was it, where was it? Yes, edit. I tapped edit from the Photos app. I am not in Annotable. I'm in the Photos app. And you'll notice in here that there is a revert option in the top right-hand corner. And yet again, it's gone small. I'll leave it alone. We'll make everybody dizzy. Well, it will do in a second because it has on here. I'm going to tap revert and it will say reverting to the original will remove all of the edits made to the photo and it can't be undone. But if what you need is the original and you want to re-edit it in the future, then you can just revert to the original and you've not damaged your original despite the fact you've edited it in a third-party app. So that's my original I edited in the built-in app, and as I swipe across, there are no edits there now. It's all clean and it's tidy. So I actually think Annotable is an amazing app. I would definitely recommend getting it as it is, which is the free version. You may then find, if I go into there, and all those annotations have gone, you may then find that some of the stuff that's available in here that is via an in-app purchase is actually so useful to you. Let's do that one. There's a magnify. And let's put that over there. So the fact I can do that on an iPad with iPad taken images or images from anywhere else is actually pretty cool. And that's why I paid for it. I thought, I have had a couple of these before, and there was Sketch for iPad, and that died a death as well. This one is still getting updated, so I'm sticking with it while I can. But just the fact that you can do that on an iPad is pretty good. It is better than the built-in one. It gives you a lot more options. Whether you would need any more than that, I think if you needed more than that, you might go to a desktop. But there's things that can do that Snagit for desktop can't actually do, which is, again, pretty amazing. So that is Annotable. And I'm sure Mike's got the link and he can share it, can't you, Mike? Yeah, it's a good app, that. That is a good app. Let's send it somewhere. You'll notice I've got my send to Notion there. Yes, I can send it to my iMac. So I can send that image to my iMac. I think it's waiting for me to say yes, is it? And I can't. Oh, no, there we go. It's sending. It's sending, and there it is. So I can actually open it up on my iPad, my iMac. And there it is behind it, replete with. If I move this out of the way, which is actually my iPad sharing, there's the image behind it, actually shared straight from my iPad. That's alarmingly good quality as well. It's very, very sharp. Your mileage may vary because we're broadcasting via YouTube, but it is very sharp. So you can do a lot more on your iPad than you used to be able to. I think we'll take that from there. So I'll discard the changes there and move my iPad, move it out of the way. Right, let's head back in here. Right, so that's it for the demos tonight. We can always chat though. Next week, it's a Saturday. Now, we usually go Friday, but we're going Saturday next week. Tell me which is the best day for you. Have we done a Thursday? I know we've got a Thursday coming up. So we've done a Friday, we've done a Saturday. What day do you prefer? Let us know what day you prefer. We need to know these things.
Any day with a wine.
Any day with a wine. Ah, yes, but no, Monday, not a good day. No, we're all fraught on a Monday. Okay. Plus the fact, Monday's usually when we're trying to get MacBites Monday. Have you noticed? We kind of missed Monday this week and it staggered out on Friday. But it was still a double MacBites day, so you can't say fairer than that, can you? So let us know what you want to see and when you want to see it. Is Saturday good? Is Saturday better than Friday? Is Friday better than Saturday? Let us know. We need to know these things. Now, seems tonight you want to know more about Camtasia. Did I do a demo of did I think I was going to do it? Did I do a demo of actually editing a tutorial?
Don't think so.
I think I thought about doing it. I think I thought about it, and that was as far as it got. I could do that.
You know what?
Yeah, not much. Got bogged down here. That's what thought did. Yes, I can certainly do that. Saturdays are better. Ooh, that's good to know. That's good to know. So we've got one vote for Saturdays. I can certainly. It's Tiswas Day. Yes, well, we're pretty crazy like that. I can certainly show you the features that made me turn to Camtasia. Alternating. Oh, Graham, alternating. I thought Graham might say, I know, Kevin, any day you're free. That works, Kev, that works. I thought Graham might say Friday and Saturday. Do you realise, people? Deborah
says Friday.
Oh.
Is that
a dead heat?
No, because Deborah's in Oz.
Deborah's in Oz, so actually it's Saturday.
It's Saturday morning.
She could be busy on a Sunday.
Does she mean Friday night UK.
Yes, I think she does. I think she does.
Saturday morning also.
But we're open to votes, so let us know. Unfortunately, next Friday, we can't possibly do next Friday, but we can do next Saturday. I was saying I can show you me editing one of my videos if you like, and I can demonstrate the features that Camtasia has that makes it better for me. Saturday morning. Brilliant. And I can show you ScreenFlow as well if you like. They are both excellent applications. You won't go wrong with either of them. I think it just depends on your workflow. And there are two features. I'm thinking freeze region, which I used the other day, and that extend frame, which the extend frame is stunning. I just need a really good demo of when you need it. And it's one of those things that you need it when you need it, which I did actually in that little video that I did. But I'll find one. That's what we'll do. So yes, I can actually have a look. You'd love to know why I switched. I should really do a blog post about that because I'd used ScreenFlow for 12 years. I bought every version twice. You might wonder why I do that. I do it because it's activated, and I hate activated software. But activated software gets the fastest updates. So I traditionally had it from them, and I got the upgrade for £30 to £35. So I upgrade it from them. But I need ScreenFlow on more than 2 machines, and it's activated. And now I think you can only activate it on 1. So I also buy it from the App Store. Mike buys it as well, so they make a lot of money out of us. So we have at least 3 purchased versions at any one point in the house. And I did buy the latest version, and I did do a review of that, and it is very, very good. I've also had every version of Camtasia for Mac since version 1, and version 1 had a library, and that was what I wanted bringing back. The library feature in ScreenFlow has corrupted on me twice. I think I know why, but that doesn't help me fix it, does it? Whereas it seems to have been rock solid in Camtasia. But it's more of a workflow thing. It's just the way that I edit it. So most people I speak to use ScreenFlow, and they seem to have used ScreenFlow for a long, long time. And I certainly couldn't say a bad word against it. It does annoy me when the macOS operating system is updated and straight away it doesn't work. And you're like, come on, guys, this has been in beta for 3 months, 4 months, usually from June till end of September or October. And they'll say, don't upgrade yet. And you're thinking, for the love of all that's sacred, get on with it. You can't have an operating system that's released that's been in beta that you've totally ignored, and now you expect me to wait 6 to 8 weeks. Now, I don't really upgrade that fast anymore, but it's still mildly annoying. And as I said earlier, when something breaks, it breaks, and they don't fix it, and I do get annoyed. I never wonder why Elaine does something. It's safe for me to do that. No. I have to say Camtasia is also available from the App Store. But the other reason is Mike is using Camtasia on Windows because obviously Windows doesn't support ScreenFlow. So there's that aspect of it as well. They are very close to each other, but I'll show you both if you like. I will find a way to demonstrate both. And I have been known actually... Tell you what, there's a question. Who wants to hazard a guess why I'd use both at the same time? There you go, Kevin. Why would I possibly, and there's more than one reason, so you've got multiple chances to be right. Why would I record using both Camtasia and ScreenFlow genuinely at the same time? Should I give them a point if they say as a backup?
Yeah.
Did you think so? Because that's not the best reason. But I bet you can't remember the best reason. I actually did this in anger. It was the only way I could do something, and that was to use...
Record.
Well, I wanted to record.
I wanted to record.
But what was I recording? It was for more than just a backup. A backup's one reason. But the biggest reason, and I have actually, look at my setup. I've used Camtasia, I've used ScreenFlow, and I've used Screenium at the same time. None of them can record more than one screen, and I've got 3. So if I'm doing a demonstration, a video of how to do a presentation with Keynote, I need them to see my main screen where the slides are, and I also need them to see the presenter screen, which is the secondary screen. And the only way to do that is to use two different things, two different apps. That's another good one, Graham. I have actually used Camtasia to record a demonstration of ScreenFlow and vice versa. Although both of them will record and let you play around. Trouble is, you are pushing it and they may crash. But they do actually let you open another file and do an edit on it. But I must admit, no, I do the Graham manoeuvre, which is I'll demo one and record with another. I must have all told about 6 to 7 screen recording apps that I use for different things. Some of them are not great in the editing department. I mean, if you're trying to edit, then you'll need ScreenFlow or Camtasia because they are the best by far for editing. Some of the others have very rudimentary editors in them, but those two are the gold standard of editing. I'm surprised so many of you are using them. Ooh, I know, Graham, you said you had an old version. Can't remember how old, but they used to come as the bundle, didn't it? I think, was it Mac Heist had it? It was definitely in a bundle. And I remember buying Camtasia, and that came in a bundle as well. The thing with Camtasia is that pretty much gets updated every year. At the moment, it's Camtasia 2018, so I am fully expecting in July that Camtasia 2019 will be out. But there again, that is an app that I use every single day. I have bought it from them directly, which means it's cross-platform. It is activated, but they do at least give you 2 activations. And what was I saying about that? Multiple activations. Oh, yes, they've got that maintenance thing. So if you take the maintenance agreement, then you don't have to pay for your upgrades. So pretty much worth it from that. The trouble with old stuff like Graham's got their version 5, nothing wrong with version 5 at all. In fact, if you could look at version 5 of ScreenFlow, you could look at version 8 that we're on now. They look identical. There's no difference. There's like 2 pixels difference. But they don't seem to bother updating the old versions like version 5 to work with the newer operating systems, in which case you've got no option but to upgrade if you've upgraded your operating systems. Do I have a favourite screen recording app? In terms of recording, not editing, I don't really mind. I was using ScreenFlow. Now I'm using Camtasia. But in terms of the actual recording, just to get a recording, it doesn't really matter. They are all pretty much one and the same. The only difference is I put them into 2 categories. There's the cheaper ones, and some of them are very inexpensive. The cheaper ones don't tend to have their own lossless file format to save in. So they seem to want to save out huge files for full quality. The other category is where Camtasia and ScreenFlow fall, where they have their own proprietary lossless format, which means that you've got this master recording that you can edit and then export to multiple other file formats. And those are the 2 categories, and that's the difference between them. The editors are far better in Camtasia and ScreenFlow, but pretty comparable, I would say. Can you think of anything that's wildly easier in one over the other? Apart from the 2 things that I've mentioned that I'll demonstrate, they are one and the same. I did an edit. Here's an example for you. I had 2 edits to do. One was an edit of the Munich video, and for historic purposes, it was in ScreenFlow. And I found it a nightmare to edit, because I had to keep zooming in so I could grab hold of the handles and pull it. In Camtasia, that just worked. But a different type of video I had slides on the timeline. And I wanted these slides to merge into one another, so basically fade from one slide to another. And in Camtasia, I had to manually put transitions on every slide, whereas in ScreenFlow, I could just do a roll edit, which was just pull it one way or pull it the other. I wouldn't say either of them. I want a hybrid of the 2 is what I really want. But for the type of video I edit, I'm finding Camtasia better at the moment. But I'll demonstrate both of them. So I've taken that on board, demonstrate both of those. And also on my list is still Devon think. Oh, and I've had so many messages from people about Notion. You're loving Notion. You just want more examples. That's the thing with Notion. It's like a Meccano kit. You actually want to see me build stuff so you can think of things to build for yourself. Seems to be the story there. So more on Notion as well. But if you've got anything else that you're thinking in terms of, do let us know. Because we've got, where are we? Let me get my iPad out and look at my... Oh, now you've upset it. Now it's come out of that. I'll leave my iPad alone because that's upset the screen. So let's go back into there. I'll pick it. Now, this is an example of why I've got 5 iPads sat here, isn't it? And one of them's telling me it's not backed up. I'm going into my calendar to look how far ahead we are after hours up. That's an odd verb, isn't it? After hours up. Oh, come on, where's my calendar? Well, we're definitely sorted for next week, and I think we're sorted for the week after. So next week it's Saturday the 9th, and then it's Friday the 15th. Yes, that's where we're done up to, I think. We're done up to there. So I'm looking for things to do. So you need to tell me what you would like to see. Hopefully sharing my training stuff is interesting. My how I do my screenshots and all of that. I could do step-shot guides, which is the new Clarify. Clarify being our IP. Well, actually, it's sort of breathing its last at the moment. Who's used Clarify? Clarify replaced, what was that one called? Screen Steps, which I used since 2006. But it's Java-based and it never quite felt like a Mac app. So I've moved. That's a way to present step-by-step tutorials where the app itself takes the screenshot and then you annotate it within the app. And then you can publish it straight to a blog or make a PDF of it. Or, better still, a PowerPoint file, which you can open in Keynote. It's amazing. And there's a free version now as well. So you can get up to 5 exports a month free. So that's worth looking at as well, because I'm using that. You can never have too many of these tools, I find. And as you saw from all my tech tonight, I can never claim that I've not got enough tools. But you need these things. It meant that we could do you a show while we were away. And I actually enjoyed that. I was concerned about your channel coming over my channel and vice versa. But that digital recorder was amazing. And now I've tempted Graham. Well, I don't actually know if I've tempted Graham, but you've seen it, haven't you, Graham? So you can go lust after it. It is actually handy to have a digital recorder, especially one that can do that kind of quality. And the flexibility of having the XLR input as well. It works fantastically, because I know you've got a brilliant camera, Graham. It works great. It can be hooked into the camera. I think underneath it, it's got one of those hot shoe things that can hook on the flash to do audio and sync with the camera. You need one, Graham. I'm tempting him, if you noticed. I'm tempting him. But yeah, I can highly recommend that. I actually said to Mike that new one that does 4 with all the knobs looks amazing. But I shall stick with this one for the moment. Actually, your iPhone does a pretty good audio recording. But it picks up too much. What we were able to do with that one, because we didn't do a backup this time, I didn't bother, because the iPhone it's red hot and it picks up everything. There is a funny story with that, actually, and we didn't use that recorder, did we? We use an iPhone. We didn't have that with us. There's an example. We went away last year and, well, I'll give you the full story next time, but we went away last year and there was an emergency and Mike needed to do some audio and we did not have that recorder with us. This is why I have to take everything and the kitchen sink. But I'm sure I've shared that video before, but I'll share it again. Yes, Graham, is the wallet nervous? Is the wallet nervous? Actually, that price isn't bad. I'm sure I paid more than that. And it is a very solid piece of kit. The one I got came with the plastic case. You saw that in one of the photos. And I also got a kind of gel-based case to slot it in as well. But it's that sturdy. It doesn't really create much of a problem, to be honest. So yeah, we'll have another look at that. What I will say is it eats batteries. So what I did with it, and this might actually persuade you to have one digital recorder over another. It does work off the mains, and the version I bought came with an accessory pack, and it had a mains adapter. And of course, I drag it around into my studio, and then I drag it back into my office, and then we drag it away on holiday. And it was an absolute pain to either keep charging the batteries and use it on battery, or drag the cable with me. when I don't know what made me even think of it, but I went on Amazon and I looked up cables for it. I actually typed in the number and then up came the power cable. And I got a replacement power cable with a 5-foot length on it. Good night, Kevin. I think it was $7.95. So considering I paid over £200 for the device itself, I thought this is brilliant. So I got one and I installed it permanently in the studio. And I brought the other one into the office, which is actually the cable that came with it is not as good as the replacement. And then I decided I'd get another one. So that one is now the portable, it travels with us. And I don't have to worry that I've, taken the recorder and I've not taken the power cable. Obviously, you've seen my 16-port battery charger, and I could do that. But, when you're in the middle of a recording and your battery's dropping like a stone, you do not want to stop and change the batteries. So I can highly recommend the power cable with it as well. Not all the power cables are equal. The newer ones, the H6, comes with a USB, one of the chunkier USB ends. So that actually is very handy because the one for mine is proprietary to the recorder. So you saw me take USB cables, lightning cable. If it was a cable, I had it with me. And of course, things like Kindles and my battery packs all use the same cable. So that is actually handy. I've got a light on my desk that uses the same cable as the H6, but this H4 uses a proprietary one. But, for £8, it was worth it. It was worth it. I will talk you into it in the end, Graham. It's just a matter of time. So be afraid. But you need a digital recorder. You just got to be done. You've got to have one. So that's us done then, isn't it? So next time it is Saturday, which unfortunately is Sunday for Deborah. Apologies for that. But we're doing so. I can't remember what we're doing, but we're doing something. So we can't manage Friday. I think you're back late or something. But it will be Saturday and we will be here. Now, did I have anything planned, Mike? Let me pick that iPad up again. That would be number 16. Can you believe we've done 16 of these, considering we've only done 100 and odd MacBites? Right, where's Notion? Because everything is powered by Notion. So I'm going into my Notion account and let's have a look what I've got planned for next week. Have I got anything planned for next week? Oh, the anticipation and the excitement. And it's struggling. Come on, you can do this. Oh, let me have a look. Don't put me out of my misery. Let me have a look. This poor iPad's struggling. It's my oldest iPad, After hours, 16. Let's have a look. Oh, what was I planning? Because I might be just about to bin the whole thing, to do. Oh, I've not got anything in my content items. Have you got something in the content items? I haven't. Is he thinking about it? You're looking at the wrong show. Look at that. It's alarmingly empty for next week. So I'm predicting I could actually look at screen recording. Oh, I had Step Shot Guides down. It's loaded in now. I did. I've got Step Shot Guides and screenshots. Mine's just being very slow. I could stick Camtasia in there, couldn't I? I could. Right, I will see how I can get on with that this week and show you reasons why I moved. Sounds like reasons to be cheerful, doesn't it? Yeah, so, that was why I moved, to be cheerful. I get like that with apps. They annoy me to the extent that you challenged me. That's how it actually happened. Okay. I said there's a new version of Camtasia. It's got some nice features. And you said, well, edit a video in it. And my heart sank and I thought, oh, no. And then I thought, well, okay, I'll do it then. And I embraced the ideology of it, and that's what made it easier. I think if your ideology is ScreenFlow, you're not going to like Camtasia. But I will show you. We will do that next week with Step Shot Guides. So there you go. It'll be all about how to create training next week. I should challenge you all to make me a tutorial. We see what happens when I'm let loose and I just randomly think of things. This is why I need a script. But you know what? Well, I can after hours. It's completely unscripted. So that's it for this week. We will see you next Saturday, which is the 9th of March at 9 p.m. That's GMT. We're still GMT, aren't we? We're GMT, but if you're stateside, you're not what you are now.
No, next week there will.
Oh, next week you will be, but not the week after. So we've got to be very, very careful with that. We'll put in a link to that, won't we? So you know what time it is. Because it's all about to get very confusing for 3 weeks. You've been warned. Poor Mike's moth-eaten with it because he works in about 17 different time zones and they're all going to pot for 3 weeks. But we'll be there then at that time. Thank you very much, Curtis. Thank you very much. Hopefully you'll find the next one interesting when I get my Camtasia out. Oh, how am I going to record my screen with Camtasia and demonstrate Camtasia, Mike? But not if I'm demonstrating ScreenFlow. Oh, I do love a challenge. That's this week's challenge. How am I going to do that? That's what we'll do. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's absolutely what we'll do. Now, while we were away, somebody overindulged, as you all know by now, because you've listened to MacBites. But we are going to have something to eat. Now, what are you tempting yourself with? Because I saw you with a bag of nuts. He does like cashew nuts. And what were the others? Honey roasted something. He's looking a bit dubious. I think he's overdone it already. I think I might have a banana. Haven't fully decided yet. It could be a piece of chicken. You're wondering where on earth the fruit's gone, haven't you? I'm off fruit this week. So it'll either be the banana that's calling me. Now I've seen it in my picture. Under the teapot, don't ask. It'll either be that or it'll be a piece of chicken. I will report back next week what I actually had. But that's the plan at the moment. But for tonight, it is goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
And we'll both see you next time. Have a fantastic week, folks.